Hey guys, welcome to the first video from Florida Wild Educators. Today we're going to go to one of our friends' properties and we're going to see a few of his animals.
Yes, we're going to be seeing his black throat monitor, his Uromastyx, and his blood python. We are very excited to see these animals. We've never seen these animals up close before. It's our first time as well. So we're going to be letting him explain a lot of it, and we're excited to educate you guys as well.
All the way over there. But
You're ready.
yeah, because he's an herbivore. I mean, these guys, they poop like rabbits. But this is Lentil, and Lentil is a Egyptian Uromastyx. He was actually given to me by a guy down in Miami that was moving out of state and couldn't go through all the trouble of taking it with him because these guys have he's not very big right now. He's going to get maybe about 3 feet. The Egyptian Uromastyx are the largest of all the Uromastyx, and they also like it really, really hot. That it's not as easy as putting a heat mat down for your snake. These guys like a basking temperatures. I think the basking literally should be 120 degrees, which is absolutely insane. And in Florida, you have to be a little bit careful that they're not too humid, because if you tried keeping these guys outdoors, on a normal day, I think our humidity outside in Florida is at least 60%. It's high enough, whatever it is, it's high enough to give them respiratory infections, and you literally can't keep them outside in Florida. So you have to keep them in a very controlled, dry enclosure inside, feed them enough to support their growth. And he's pretty chill. I haven't spent much time socializing him or anything ever since I've got him, but he doesn't mind being picked up too much. He'll eat out of your hand. He's a little unaccustomed to the camera right now. This is actually the first time I've ever taken him outdoors, but if I sense that he's gonna start acting up or feel a little overwhelmed, we'll go in real quick and put him back. But yeah, he kind of looks like he's not even alive.
Yeah,
he
just
just lets
doesn't move
me
very much.
move him around, but he is taking everything in. He is using his brain and looking at everything. He's just not he's not very reactive the same way the monitor, the blood throat were. So they like it really hot.
Yeah.
But I've only had them for a bit, not as long as the other ones, and I kind of let him do his thing. And
Yeah, he looks crazy with the giant spiky tail.
yeah, I guess that's a pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I could talk
not
about
much things.
the incredibly weird looking spiny club tail thing he's got going on.
So why do they have that?
Yeah, in the wild, they like to squeeze themselves in very flat rocks. They'll find a little tight spot, and the only thing they'll leave hanging out is their tail. And so when something's chasing them or something's reaching into a hole to try to get them, they'll accidentally grab onto this tail, which he's a little sensitive about. But I assure you, just by looking at it, it is really pointy. If you grabbed it, it would kind of hurt a little bit, or enough to not keep pursuing him if this is what you're dealing with. But that's why they have it. They don't smack you with it. They don't, they don't really use it like a weapon. It just makes it harder to grab them. But this is not an aggressive animal by any means. I think these guys are even kind of calm as pets, because they might not have too many predators in the wild, and so they're not mentally programmed to be super defensive. He's always been pretty calm and thinking. He kind of just jittered on my hand a little bit, but even then he's obviously not taking off running or anything. So pretty cool little guy. But hopefully he'll get up to 3 feet, and we'll be able to use this guy for presentations. You see, now he might start to look for an escape route.
All right, so we can be done.
Yep. Super mad. I'm about to pull her out. You okay, Muscles? So we're gonna be nice and gentle, guys. You okay, muscles? You're a little warm. But you see now that tongue is flicking?
Yeah.
This is textbook thinking. She is not as reactionary. And I wish I could explain why they do it when they get out of the tank. But when they're in the tank, they're not always more defensive, but they could be. And once you get them out, as you see, she's actually, I mean, she looks like she doesn't want to bite at all.
Yeah.
You know, but these guys being super heavy bodied, and you see how absolutely thick she is for a 4-foot snake. I mean, like a 4-foot corn snake is like a 20th of the thickness.
Yeah, this
as
one's
her.
very thick.
She's very terrestrial, and she won't hold on to me much, and so I kind of have to do all the heavy lifting and support her weight. And then if she feels like, oh, she's got her tail down my pants, if she feels like she's about to fall, she might get even a little bit more skittish. And with the world's fastest non-venomous striking snake, if she wanted to bite me right now, there's absolutely nothing I can do to stop it. But you see, she's pretty chill.
Yeah.
You know, the shedding this morning was making her a little uncomfortable. But once they're out, they're actually not aggressive or monsters or anything like that. But she probably, last time I weighed her, I think she was 8.5 pounds. And these guys, obviously, they get pretty thick. Breeders don't weigh these guys in grams to know when they're breeding. These guys are bred in pounds. Despite their pretty short length, they have like a bunch of weight to them. And these guys are from the family called, or I don't know if it's a family, but a group of snakes called the short-tailed pythons. You can see where the tail starts.
Yeah.
Right there, the cloaca, their vent there. The tail is only a few inches, and the rest of their body is just this super thick, girthy, sausage-looking thing. There's 3 species of snake in this group, and the blood python is probably the most popular, the prettiest of the 3, the most common as pets. I think even the largest of the 3. And these guys are like the main short-tailed python. But you guys have any questions?
So these guys, you were telling us not to move too much, so how do they see people?
So these guys being pythons, I don't know if all pythons have heat pits. I probably should know that, but she definitely does. And so a lot like vipers or cottonmouths that you'll see out in the Everglades, that they react very easily to like a giant heat signature standing over them or approaching them. You can put her in a cardboard box or like a plastic tub or something, and she still can see you through the foliage. She can see you through the plastic because she's seeing your heat signature, and to her it just looks like a giant predator approaching. And so when she was in her tank, we kind of just looked like big monsters messing with her when she's kind of vulnerable, like in the middle of her shed. Okay. And but once she's out, something about taking them out of their enclosure kind of flips this switch.
So how old is this one?
She should be 5 years now.
5 years.
And she can probably live up to 25, assuming I take real good care of her. But yeah, these are animals that can live a pretty decent long time. I think the oldest I'd heard of was like 30 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
So these get pretty old and pretty long, and they're very thick.
Yeah, and some of the females, like I said, this is the northern variant, the yellow face. Some of them get absolutely massive, like 30 pounds, close to 6 feet, like an absolutely ridiculous snake. Of all of our giant snakes, our Burmese pythons and retics and stuff like that, there's no giant red snake, and a true red blood python, full grown, is the closest thing to like a giant red snake you'll ever see. If it weren't for their reputation that's holding them back from being like more common as pets, I think people would appreciate these guys more.
So how big do the males get?
The males actually stay smaller. The females will be bigger to be able to like have more eggs, have more babies. The males aren't territorial or combative or anything, so they don't need to be big for fighting or anything. If a female can get to 30 pounds, I'm gonna guess a male will get to like 20 or 25 pounds. But you always see outliers too. On average, the females are just bigger with this species.
Okay.
Isn't she chill now?
Yeah.
You saw she struck out. She wanted to bite me in the face and kill me. And now I'm like... But you see the tongue is flicking.
Yeah.
So that's a really good sign. She's like just taking it all in. She's thinking, you know, if she was getting nervous again and her tongue stopped flicking, there's some tricks you can do with snakes that I did with her when she was smaller, like when you hold them over your head. And, you know, to snakes, predators don't come from underneath. They come from up top. You can actually have them feel a little bit calmer if you just hold them over your head, right? If she starts to S up her neck and she's like ready to bite and she's like locked in on me, you can even like turn and you see how her head kind of stays the same orientation.
Yeah.
Generally. So her head might stay fixated like on Caesar, and if she starts to turn to me, I can turn and kind of redirect her face, and then she might start looking at something else and get distracted.
So how often do you feed her?
She actually eats like once a month. These guys, another real cool thing about them is that because they're one of the fastest striking snakes on the planet, and their weight actually serves as an anchor to them, because if this snake didn't weigh as much, like she would go flying every time she struck, right? And so these guys will actually hold on to their poop and not go to the bathroom for like a month at a time. They'll literally eat and keep putting on the weight, because the more weight they have, even as poop, like it helps them stabilize themselves when they strike. And so very slow metabolisms, poops like once a month max. Right now she eats once a month, but she can definitely have smaller meals once every couple weeks. But they're pretty prone to becoming obese if you overfeed them. They don't move much. They're ambush predators. They literally just want to sit and wait for a prey to come by. And so in captivity, where we have access to all the prey and food in the world for them, we do have to be a little bit more careful to not overfeed them. And the best way to tell if they're overweight or not is actually, you can kind of see her spine showing in parts of her back where she's like bent over like this. And so if you line her up like this and you see the little pyramid, that little point in her spine, that's actually a pretty good weight. You don't want them round like ball pythons, where if you like looked at them, you don't see a point. It's just a smooth, round spine. That's actually signs of an overweight blood python. And so I feed her like a large rat once a month now. And because she finished shedding this morning, I'll actually feed her that rat later tonight. I was gonna feed her yesterday, but I knew the shed was gonna come and she probably wasn't gonna be down for it. But you see, shed's over and now she's chilling.
Beautiful snake, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a northern.
She's the northern variant of the blood python. So within the blood pythons and you know, a lot of reptiles, there's localities, there's different. They're not their own subspecies or species. The same species can just look different depending on where you find it. And so these guys are in some of these Southeast Asian countries. I think the main country people mention where you're finding blood pythons might be Malaysia. I think Malaysia is where they're finding like the main population of blood pythons. And so in the northern parts of Malaysia, you would find this locality, this color variant of blood pythons where they don't get red. They kind of keep their yellows and this orangey brown color, and they don't get as large as the southern ones.
So the red ones get even bigger?
Yeah, the red ones get bigger. This, I wouldn't say this is her full size. She's only 5. If she lives to 20, I'm sure she'll put quite a few more pounds on her. But it'll take longer to get to like an impressive size compared to like a true red blood python. See, isn't she cute? Look at that 6-pack, that plank she's holding.
All right.
Yeah, but these guys, like I said, mainly terrestrial. They're capable of climbing. I would never build them like a 10-foot tall exhibit unless I just felt like having something to walk into myself. They're definitely capable of climbing. They just, they don't hunt that way though. They won't be in the trees trying to catch birds or anything. They'll stay pretty motionless on the ground under some leaf litter and stuff.
Yeah. So just hunting anything in the ground?
Yeah, a bunch of rodents or a passing little bird or something. Little mammals.
Gotcha.
But just like most snakes, they're pretty opportunistic. I don't think they're specialists in any kind of prey. I think she'll take just about anything. Yeah, so even though I'm holding her and she's my baby and I've had her for years, and she's super chill, and she's actually met a lot of people by now. I like to think I've socialized her pretty well. She could get a little defensive and skittish every now and then, especially like I was saying, on a cold morning. She might be a little bit more reactive than usual. But like Lewis, if you want to get near and like pet her, just come around from here, come a little slow. I'll let you know if she's feeling a little uneasy, but you can just come down and pet right here. So she's flicking her tongue, she's thinking, and she's comfortable enough where she might even like lay and bask to get some sun. I don't think she's fast enough to like dart off in a sprint, but I'll keep a hand on her in case she gets a little like overwhelmed.
So how big is Churro?
Churro weighs about 20 pounds. Yeah, it looks like she's just getting ready to like flatten herself out to get some sun. But she weighs about 20 pounds. She's 5 years old, black throat monitor. And from tip to tip, it's pretty hard to measure, but I think she's about 6 feet in length. Her tail is ridiculously long if you look all the way to the end. And like her tail is like half of her body length.
Yeah, she's a very long monitor.
Yeah.
She's about 1 Caesar length.
She's about 1 Caesar length.
One Caesar length. So where are these guys found?
These guys are naturally from Tanzania in East Africa, and they're in this like group of monitors, or the family of rock monitors. They have these very big, bulky heads, and that head shape is something you'll see in savanna monitors and white throat monitors, and obviously in these guys, the black throats. But these guys in the wild, they eat a lot of insects. They'll eat eggs from nests. They'll eat birds if they can catch it. But they're also apparently known to eat giant African land snails, which are pretty tough to crush, I imagine, and which would explain their need to have like such a giant bulky head, because most monitors, their heads aren't these big block heads like Churro's here. So I'll actually give her some frozen thawed apple snails from the Asian market that we have here to try to mimic that and to give her that opportunity to strengthen her jaw. Yeah, the males for this species are actually the ones that get bigger. So she's 20 pounds. A big male can probably get up to 40 or 50 pounds.
Wow.
Chances are a 50-pound black throat is incredibly obese because these guys have like absolutely insane appetites and they'll just eat a ton. So you also have to control their intake. But they're physically capable of reaching like 50 pounds and being, you know, over 6 feet long.
Wow.
And looking like absolute dinosaurs.
Yeah, this guy looks like a dinosaur.
I don't know if she'll ever get that big, because she's only 5. Ideally, these guys can live over 20 years. In South Florida, black throats are really weird. They all kind of seem to die from cancer at 10 years.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know if it's the quality of the food that we're offering them, or maybe just like not a perfect diet. Maybe giving them snails is like the key to surpassing 10 years. I have no idea, but I try to be pretty careful about her vitamins and supplements and her prey variety and making sure it's like decent quality. But 10 years, I'll take, you know, even 10 years with her. She's interacted with a lot of people. A lot of people have been absolutely like mind blown from her. And the whole point for Churro is that people get to interact with her, because like in the wild, you try to go up to a big iguana or monitor and they'll probably whip you right in the face.
So these guys whip you as well?
Yeah, a big male. If you approach the big male and cornered it and you give it no other choice but to whip you, the whip of a big male can like fracture your face. Like
wow.
It will absolutely hurt like really bad.
So this thing's a weapon.
Yeah, it's absolute weapon. Like their number one weapon really is their tail. They can do a number with their bite, but they really don't want to bite you.
Is their bite similar to an iguana bite?
I mean, I'm sure both really hurt. Monitor lizards are technically, some people argue they're venomous. And so I think iguana bites, it's like a big enough iguana is guaranteed to give you stitches. These guys will probably also give you stitches, but if you have a bad reaction, you might go into anaphylactic shock and like your airways will start tightening if you get, you know, like a bad enough dose of venom or your body reacts to it poorly. But these guys, monitors in general, people believe are, you know, partially venomous, not like rattlesnakes, but if you see her bottom lip, it's kind of hard from that distance, but she has like a really fat underlip that people believe are venom glands. And so while she doesn't have fangs, if she bit onto something and maybe didn't let go and kind of chewed into you, the venom would seep from the glands through her teeth and into your wound. And so, I mean, venom primarily is used to help with digesting their food, but man, it will do a number to you if they bite you out of defense. So I'd say their bite is probably worse than an iguana, but they're way more likely to be calmer and tamer than an iguana. And so I'd be way more worried about getting bit by an iguana in general than by Churro here.
Has Churro ever bitten you or struck at you?
She gave me a little nip one time. It was absolutely completely my fault. I was just trying to get her attention and like I was wiggling my fingers around to get her to come up to me. And then right when she came up, I rubbed her nose with my finger and it was like the dumbest thing I could have done. And she gave me the quickest, tiniest little nip. You blinked and it was over. And she did it literally just because she was confused. You know, I kind of was enticing her with the idea that I had like prey for her. And she didn't even hold on. So I was super lucky that she's as smart as she is, because she just gave a little nip and let go, realized that wasn't food like instantly, and then my finger was swollen for like a week and a half. So the venom, even with as tiny of a bite, the venom had quite a little effect on me.
Yeah.
It didn't affect my breathing, or I didn't go into anaphylactic shock or anything like that. But yeah, this is, no matter how nice they are, this is an animal you want to respect. And you know, as sweet as she is and as cool as it is to be able to work with an animal like this, she's still very capable of inflicting damage without even really having to try that much.
So is there anything about this type of species about like its scales or anything that they? Because I saw that they have little like pointy things on the
what?
on its like back.
Yeah, so I don't know if this looks a lot like osteoderms on the gator.
Yeah, that's
but
what I was mentioning.
all these little bumps have been described as armor. That if you were to skin Chiro's back and look underneath, all these little bumps you'll see are like bones for armor. I haven't seen it myself. I've heard there's a video of a monitor, a black-throat monitor, just like Chiro here, that was getting bit by a cobra in Africa, and its skin is supposedly so thick that the fangs couldn't penetrate the skin of the monitor, and so the monitor like didn't care that it was getting bit by a cobra. I couldn't find that video. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's true. These guys coming from Africa. Africa is a crazy environment. Like, everything is built to be really powerful, really big, really physically capable. That it is a species that evolved in the African environment. They're pretty capable in defending themselves and inflicting damage. And so while she's never needed to like use her armor on me, so to speak, because obviously I try to make sure she has a pretty easy, stress-free life, her skin, I'm sure, serves as armor. You okay, Chooster? She's literally just flattening out. She literally flattens her ribs out to get more sun on her. But I just like to make sure that she's not accidentally gonna feel a little too overwhelmed and book it for the bushes.
Yeah, she's a beautiful monitor.
What are those yellow spots for? Just pattern?
Just pattern. When they're younger, it probably helps with some sort of camouflage. But at this size, I mean, they're a big lizard. They probably still blend into their environment to some capacity when they're this large, but generally reptiles, as they get larger, their colors and contrasts kind of dull out, like they rely on their camouflage even less. And so, no, that's just how they've kind of evolved over time to look. And most blackthroats will look literally just like this with the yellow dots and then the banding down the tail. But she's also a little dirty when you keep them outside. Like, they'll get covered in dirt. That's absolutely normal. In the wild, they're in their burrows covered in sand and dust and stuff all the time. And when she sheds, she'll look super pretty and, you know, high contrast and stuff. So it's, I don't think she has much, I don't think she needs the yellow dots for anything in particular. It's just what remains from their camouflage when they were younger.
Okay. It's a very interesting dinosaur here.